right. So it's the mid-year freakout tag, everyone. Ah! I believe that we're back. I believe that I'm here today with another video. Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Caitlin. I've officially figured out my microphone. I don't have to hold it in my hands anymore, which is phenomenal. I don't know about you, but that was really bothering me because I talk with my hands, you know. So we're here today with our mid-year freakout tag, talking about all the books that I've read so far this year. And I'm excited to get into it, you know, because we love books here at this channel, if you couldn't tell. And I have read 26 or 27 books so far this year. So I'm excited to talk about them, and let's do it. Let's just jump right in. Let's not have it too long of an intro because it'll be a long video in general. So let's just open up the handy dandy notebook and jump right into it. Question number 1 is the best book you read in 2022. And I think most people already know the answer to this if you've watched my last video. I'll link it in the cards above. But the answer to that is A Master of Jinn by P. Djeli Clark. I absolutely love this book. I can't talk enough about it. It's about our main character, Fatima, who is a magic inquisitor in Egypt in like right before World War II, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. It's so good. I love how he mixes old history with futuristic and steampunk elements, and I adore that. This is such an ingenuitive book. Love it. If you haven't picked it up, definitely do. And then I want to talk about The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. I just finished it on my Kindle. I don't have it. But wow, what a phenomenal fantasy. What a phenomenal fantasy book. If you haven't read it, I've really only ever seen Elliott Books talk about it. I believe that's their channel. I'll link it down below. Absolutely rave about this book. They rave about it. So I was like, you know what? It seems like we have similar taste in books. So I decided to pick it up. I was not disappointed. I do have to say I was not disappointed. I was thoroughly impressed. 5 out of 5 stars for me. I absolutely adored it. So if you haven't picked it up or if you haven't heard of it, you definitely should, because it is phenomenal, amazing, and that's the honorable mention. Okay, let's move on. Best sequel of 2022. Now, this didn't come out in 2022. It actually came out quite a while ago, and I actually have already read it, but I wanted to reread it for a certain TV show that's coming out soon, if you're catching what I'm putting down. And that is The Sea of Monsters by Riordan. Wow. I really don't remember a whole lot of the Percy Jackson series besides the first book. I read them when I was in elementary school. These are not my original copies, and these are the hardcovers of the old books. So, if you can tell how long it's been since I've read this, there you go, I'm ancient. But I just finished reading this past month, and oh my god, it made me cry. Did it? I don't remember, but it was really good. And what themes of friendship and found family, I didn't realize how strong they were in this book. And it really tore on my heartstrings. Okay, it really truly did. This book is really good. I really enjoyed it. And this is so far my best sequel of 2022. Yeah, that's that. You guys should definitely hop on the rereading train of the Percy Jackson series before the TV show comes out, hopefully next year. Newest release you haven't read yet. I'm going to go with every single Book of the Month book that I have gotten from Book of the Month, besides Pachinko and These Violent Delights. I'm pretty sure those are literally the only 2 that I've read. But the one that I specifically want to read, again, I've been on an Elliott Books kick. I don't know why. I'm really enjoying their videos. And Kaiki, she talked about highly. So, I really want to read this. It was one of my Book of the Month picks when I obviously picked it for the month that it came out in. And she was just raving about this. And it sounds like it's mythology. I think Indian mythology. And I'm not super familiar with that, and I'm super excited to dive in and then look more into the origin story. I'm sure lots of people know the characters of Kaiki, and I did read the author's Instagram post talking about her association with this tale in her childhood. So I'm really excited to read this, to pick it up. I definitely should. I don't know if you probably know this about me. I don't ever read physical copies of books. They're really just like centerpieces. So I have to see if my library has this, and if not, I'll have to buy the ebook because I really want to get to it. I really do. All right, most anticipated release of 2022. I have 3 for this one. 3, okay? Number 1, Babel by R.F. Kuang. If you know anything about me, you know that I love R.F. Kuang and I love the Poppy War trilogy. And I'm so excited for Babel, an arcane history of violence and translation. Is that right? Maybe not. It's a really long title, which I love. Go off, R.F. Kuang. Like, we love that for you. But I am so excited to dig my hands into this, to listen to the audiobook. I'm really crossing my fingers that the audiobook has the footnotes, because I know she wrote a lot of footnotes in the book. So I'm really crossing my fingers that the audiobook has the footnotes, because some audiobooks do that. And I'm just so excited to see what R.F. Kuang has come up with. I'm also excited for her book that she talked about a while ago, but it's releasing in 2023, about a white lady who completely appropriates someone's story. So I'm really excited for that. I'm excited for Nona the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, which is the 3rd book in the Gideon the Ninth trilogy. If you haven't read those, you definitely should. There's some fun science fiction novels, and that's one of my favorites. You know that. Going into Harrow, the 2nd one, can be really confusing for some people, but I really suggest just to power through. I personally got like 100 pages in and literally had to start over because I was so confused, because I started it on a drive, so I was just listening to the audiobook. So I suggest maybe like those first couple 100 pages, if you're an audiobook listener, maybe listen and read at the same time, and then you can transfer to the, just audiobook, whether you're walking, driving, but I feel like you have to kind of pay attention to the beginning. So yeah, I'm excited for Nona the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I believe that comes out in September. And then The Last Hero by Lyndon A. Lewis, which comes out in November. And that is the 3rd and final book in the First Sister trilogy. If you haven't read that, please do. Please, 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 please do. I don't hear nearly enough people talking about it. Really, really great audiobook. Great representation with the cast in the audiobooks. And it's LGBTQIA+. It's filled with characters like that. So, yeah, another science fiction fantasy. And I really recommend it. You definitely should read it. Just saying. Especially get it done by like November. The last book comes out. I'm pretty sure on like the 22nd. You'll be set. And you won't have to wait like I did for all 3. Biggest disappointment, 9 Perfect Strangers by Liane Moriarty. I don't have this book. I read it on my Kindle. I started watching the TV show and really enjoyed it. Thought it was bomb. Nicole Kidman, hot as ever. So I was like, you know what? I want to read this book. Sounds really interesting. The book, I hated it so much that I haven't even finished the TV show. It was a disappointment, to say the least. I just really didn't enjoy it at all. I don't know if it's, I don't really love thrillers that much. I guess I just kind of get like bored at the prospect of like real people in stories. Maybe that's a bad thing that I need to rectify, but Liane Moriarty didn't rectify it for me. 9 Perfect Strangers was a complete disappointment, and because of that, I have no interest in even finishing the TV show. Literally no interest. I don't care anymore, which is sad. It's sad. I should have finished the TV show first. Regrets. Anyways, that is by far my biggest disappointment of the year. That was a 2-star read. Ugh. Biggest surprise. Oh my god. So, I have to talk about this book, okay? This is a nonfiction. What you're thinking, Caitlin, nonfiction? You only read science fiction fantasy. And I'm going to say, yeah, I know, but this book, okay? This is science fiction in real life. I adore it. It is How to Take Over the World, Practical Schemes and Scientific Solutions for the Practical Aspiring Supervillain by Ryan North. I absolutely love this book and highly recommend the audiobook. When I was referring earlier to Babel and footnotes being in the audiobook, this book has its footnotes in the audiobook. Thank you very much, because I feel like that really added to the reading experience, because the footnotes have a lot that you should, read. You should read the footnotes if a book has footnotes, you know? So, wow. I absolutely adored this. Finished it in one sitting, which for a nonfiction, wow, so good. It just, honestly, I mentioned this during my bookshelf tour, I think. But this book to me is my Bible for when I'm going to be writing my antagonists in my stories. Just the way that he pieces things together, the logic that he goes through, the supervillain logic. And it's just so phenomenal. And I highly recommend you read it. You know, if you enjoy nonfiction, if you enjoy science fiction novels, if you want to write a book and you need some inspiration on how to write your villains, I really recommend this book. It really was a game changer for the year for me, and I absolutely loved it. Didn't expect to love it this much. I gave it a 5 stars, and that's why it's my biggest surprise so far of 2022. New favorite authors. P. Djeli Clark. I want to read Ring Shout as well this year. Heard that's very good, also by the same author. So, P. Djeli Clark. Oh my god. Joe Abercrombie, which, I mean, if you saw, again, my last video, it'll be linked in the cards above. You'll know that I absolutely throw it down for Joe Abercrombie, especially Best Circled. And I'm excited to read the next book in this, but I did want a bit of a break because I'm really tired of reading books by men. And that's why I picked up The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. Again, highly recommended. But I can't put her on my favorite author list yet because I haven't read any of the other books. But she's really good. Joe Abercrombie and Robert Jordan. R.I.P. to the GOAT. How could I not talk about Robert Jordan in this wrap-up, kind of halfway through video? He has been a big part of my 2022. And, you know, it makes me sad that he isn't in this world anymore, to see what an impact the rest of his books had on humanity and science fiction fantasy as a whole. But Brandon Sanderson, you know, I love him, finishes off these series. But I'm getting really sad because I'm on book 9, and I believe he starts filling in at book 11. And I'm really sad to, like, be on some of Robert Jordan's last installments that he wrote completely by himself in the Wheel of Time. I'm getting a little emo about it. But he truly has been a string that has thread together my 2022. So, yeah, Robert Jordan. I'm holding this one up because I'm reading Winter's Heart right now. So, yeah. Newest fictional crush. So we have Tor the Oathless from The Ninth Reign. Read it. So that you know why. Please. Also Noon, you know. Because, wow. Those characters, their chemistry, they're enemies to lovers to me. And I never like these tropes. But boy, did Jen Williams just... Ooh, she did it so well. She did it so well. And I love those two. Okay? Tor the Oathless and Noon, but together. Like, I want to be in a threesome with them. Anyways. Also Fatma from Master of Jinn. You gotta read it. She just gives off this, like, really, really cool and sexy, like, masculine energy. And I don't know if you can tell from me, but, like, I feel like I also give off a bit of a masculine energy. And I'm down for that in Fatma. And, yeah, I felt like I should be able to say I have 2 fictional crushes. One male, one female, because I'm bisexual. You know? So, Tor the Oathless / Noon and Fatma from the Master of Jinn. Love you guys. Newest favorite characters, which I feel like is the same question as before. So I'm going to pick new ones. And I'm going to pick Glokta from the first Law trilogy. It's like his villain origin story. He's already kind of a villain. But, like, even more, you know, he gets even more villainized. And I'm loving that. I love Glokta. He's so flawed. But the way that Joe Abercrombie writes his prose for Glokta, for me, is extremely satisfying. I love it. Like I've said in the past, Glokta's a very inquisitive character, always thinking, and always just, you know, asking questions. That's why he's an inquisitor. And I absolutely love Glokta. And then also, the Woman of Wheel of Time. I really enjoy reading from Nynaeve's, Elaine's, Egwene. Why did I fucking blank on that. Nin, and especially Avienda's perspective. I absolutely love the woman of Wheel of Time. I know some people have some issues with it, and, like, I could see that. But these women are just so strong and powerful, and, like, I truly can see how he has affected and influenced fantasy as a whole. And the fact that these were written starting in, I think, like, the 80s, and to me, they still have a decent representation of women, that's impressive, because people are still fucking misogynistic as hell in their recent day books. So I really appreciate that for Robert Jordan, and therefore I really appreciate his female characters. Books that made me cry. I don't really remember crying to anything this year, honestly. So I'm gonna pick every single Pixar/Disney movie that I watch. Recently, I saw Lightyear. If you're a science fiction fantasy gal, oh my god, please watch it. That shit made me cry. You know, I never thought, within the first, like, 10 minutes, because I never thought I would see science fiction fantasy in a kid's animated movie like this. And we got it. And it made me emotional, and I had chills. Okay? I had chills. So, Lightyear. Books that make me happy. I'm gonna pick the Percy Jackson books. I've only read the first two so far. I've read literally all of the series that are, like, involved in them. It's just been a really long time. But they've made me so happy, you know, reading them and thinking back in my childhood and where I was then while I'm reading them versus where I am now, and how I can pick up things more so when I was, you know, a kid. Or more so now than when I was a kid, Jesus. And, yeah, I don't know. It just makes me really happy reading the Percy Jackson books, and really excited for the TV show. And I just, in my head, I envision, like, the actors doing their little thing, and they're just so perfect. They're so perfect. And I'm so excited. So, yeah, Percy Jackson series for me. Most beautiful books, and I think this by far goes to the Illumicrate versions of any books, really, but I love Fonda Lee's editions. And I don't know if you can see it. I'm really trying to show it in the light. But it's absolutely fucking drop dead gorgeous. I mean, look at that. It's really gorgeous. And on the back it says "On My Honor," and then the edges are sprayed with the knives. But how beautiful is this book? It's just gorgeous, and lots of attention to detail, and I really appreciate that. So this is the most beautiful book that I have gotten this year. Books you need to finish by end of year. Wheel of Time. This is number 10 that I'm holding up. Obviously, I'm on number 9 now. So I decided to hold up one that I haven't started reading yet, and that is Crossroads of Twilight. Book 10, and I believe what is the last Robert Jordan installment in this series. And I know you're supposed to read them, like, in under a year. Excuse the birds outside. I know you're supposed to read them in under a year, but I think I've already failed on that task. If not, it's not getting done, because I still have a couple of books left, you know, like 5. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm getting my feelings over Robert Jordan, who's been dead now for years. R.I.P. to the goat. Anyways, so that was my mid-year book freakout tag, and I'm freaking out. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's video and filming along with me. Do you like my haircut? I got a haircut this morning, which is why I didn't film yesterday. Usually I film on Mondays. Today is Tuesday. I got a haircut. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't really matter. That was my mid-year freakout tag. I'll leave the questions down below. You should do it or comment down below your answers to the questions. Shout out to whoever created this and these questions specifically. There we go. I'm not sure who did, but thank you. All credit to the owner. Okay. I'll see you guys on the flip side. I'm no longer gonna say you have beautiful eyes, because you're all men, and I'm not interested. So, bye. See you on the flip side.